Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. It's yet another Africa Entrepreneurship Forum. And just like how we do it, we are going to have a lot of fun here. It's called edutainment. Fun whilst learning, getting insights, knowing how to actually navigate this cutthroat marketplace that we have in terms of, in light of our branding, in light of our marketing, how to develop strategies that can be compelling enough to get you the next deal, the next opportunity, the next customer, getting you to also go international, and getting you as the founder of your business to stand out amongst all your competitors. My name is Andrew Sakutuado, and I'm happy to welcome you to this quarter's Africa Entrepreneurship Forum and the third quarter. And this session is going to be exciting, just like how we always do. Let us know where you're connecting from in the chat box. Tell us your name, the organization that you are working with, or your own enterprise that you are promoting. Let us know where you're connecting from. I'm connecting from Accra, Ghana. And just like how we do it on the Africa Entrepreneurship Forum, there's a platform for entrepreneurs by entrepreneurs. You know, we are here to assist you on your journey towards contributing to and building the African economy. We want to make Africa great. And so by doing so, we want to get you, the African entrepreneur who would help us become great, to equally be great, you know, at what you do, and make sure that you stand out. Okay, the African story is an inspiring one. I want the world to know that we have amazing talent here on the continent, amazing business founders, and amazing startup developers. Okay, that's the first intro, okay, to get everybody settled. I can see we have a lot of people. Okay, we have people connecting from Zambia. Annie, welcome. We have greeting, wonderful greetings from warm heart of Africa, Malawi. Glad to virtually meet you too. To Kozani. Okay, we have Joash Osolo connecting from Kenya. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So this is the platform that everybody ought to be. I want you to do something for me. Connect with somebody on Twitter. Tell someone that you are connected to the African Entrepreneurship Forum and you are here to learn about something amazing, and also connect to other founders and get to know what they are doing within their respective fields of operation. Let them know that we are having an exciting time here to meet great people, great industry players, great giants within their respective fields of operation. We are going to get the climate shortly, but let me tell you who you will be listening to. We have a global director of the Global Green Tag Africa here with us. She's going to give us a keynote. We have a panel of astute players within the field of branding, marketing, business development, storytelling, policy, and we have corporate marketing executive with years of experience. All right. So I want you to just share with someone that you are here on the African Entrepreneurship Forum and encourage them to connect. Tell a friend to tell another friend that we are live, okay? And make sure you tag SVAI, Shared Value Africa Initiative, across all platforms, okay? LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, yeah. Okay, make sure you tell everybody that we are live and tag and hashtag Shared Value Africa, African Entrepreneurship Forum. You know how we do it. You know, we the Gen Zs and then the millennials. You know how we do it on social media. Awesome. Okay. Wow. I see. Secretary. Wow. We have big people in the house. DRC, Secretary Executive of Savvy NGO. I see your links. Thank you for sharing. This is what we do on the African Entrepreneurship Forum. Okay, so let me know how you're feeling. I've told you already, I'm feeling really good. I'm in high spirits. I'm motivated for today's conversation. And we'll quickly check the climate. We want to gauge the climate now. Can we have a first poll? And then let us know how you're feeling. And then I'll show you the results eventually, how everybody's feeling today. I'm feeling really good if you haven't heard me. If you are just connecting, my name is Andrew Sakotoado. You can call me Andy. And I'm feeling excited for today's conversation. I'm highly motivated and tools to learn something new about branding. Awesome. The poll is live. Let us know how you're feeling. Yeah, I'm great. I'm great. I'm great. I'm super. Awesome. I like that Lungi. So Lungi is part of the panel, and Lungi is already telling us it's Friday, and we are excited. Also, I like that. I like the energy in the room. Okay, though we are virtual, I can see people smiling in their rooms, in their offices. They are happy, they're excited, just like I am excited now. Okay, so let's get the results. Awesome. Ooh, 83% of us are feeling great. Looking forward for today's conversation. 10% feeling okay, better after coffee. Please get a lot of coffee so that you feel great like how I'm feeling. Oh, not so good, 7%. It's okay, not so good. I need a pick me up. Don't worry, I'll send a cab directly to you where you're located. We are going to have fun. Okay, it's Friday, so you get to be in a good mood. The weekend is just in the corner, and so you have to be excited. Okay, we are moving right into. So there's a first accelerator. I'm accelerating now. Very soon I'll pushing the next gear to another level, and then we'll take off. Okay, so we have an amazing lady who would kick off or start the conversation for us. She's going to present us with an address, a keynote for the day. She's by the name Lizette Swanivelda. Okay, she's the director for Global Green Tag Africa. I've told you, right? And she's a woman with years of experience in the field of green product, green business, green, all the green stuff. She started doing it before we even started hearing about it. For me, before I started hearing about, the green economy, green product, environmental sustainability, the ESG and all that, this woman was already doing it. Okay, she was walking the talk, and I would call her a trailblazer within her field because she's in an environment that, for me in Ghana, is predominantly dominated by males. So she's doing this in the construction manufacturing industry. Can you imagine? And she has worked with so many people entering into South Africa with her groundbreaking work called the Global Green Tag. That's from Australia. She came to South Africa. And so far, reading about her, she is just incredible. She founded a company, launched the first Global Green Tag operation outside of Australia in South Africa, when people were not really thinking or aligning themselves within what she wanted to promote, all right, within the construction design with design professionals and supporting manufacturers, as I said earlier. And then she quickly worked with ECO Specifier Global Green Tag, and then joined the Council for South African Technical Working Group. That's Building Council of South Africa, Building Council of South Africa. There, of course, she did amazing, working to develop the Green Star rating tool for interiors fit out tool. And she was famously, she took the lead for helping usher the world's first third-party green building product rating system for South Africa. I wouldn't want to say more because if I should continue, perhaps I would be taking more of your time. And I want her to tell us first about herself and then usher us into the keynote. She's going to be talking about greenwashing and within the context of branding and marketing. And I would want you to pay critical attention to her because she has years of experience and she has a lot to share with us. Lizette, over to you.
Thank you, Andy. Wow, it's a very nice introduction. And I love your energy. I am also super pumped and excited. So, good morning, everyone. My name is Lizette Swanefelder, the Global Green Tag Africa Director. So my colleague is actually in Kenya. I was hoping he would join us. I haven't seen the list yet, but I did also see a lot of people from South Africa. Yeah, very glad to be joining you from South Africa in the beautiful city in the Western Cape. So I think Andy did quite a good introduction. So I'm going to start sharing my screen, and I might just need a heads up to see if it is working.
Yeah, it's working. I can see your screen here. So you can give a thumbs up if you can see her screen from your side. Okay, so let's just project. And
so there we go. Okay. I can see now what I am showing. So I'm going to, I think, enough about me. I'm very passionate about this industry. And so I have got, I love sharing, and I always love starting my sharing with the students before you even get to be an entrepreneur, because I really do believe that they are our next generation and they are the people that need to be inspired, and we need to share our information with. So I'm going to jump right in. I think my screen is moving, right?
Yes, it's moving.
Okay, I'm just going to move some tiles around here so I can see. So I want to chat to you about the power of branding. I know there's quite a mix across industries, so this really does apply to every type of industry. Okay, so establishing and promoting a brand is a crucial aspect of building a successful business as an entrepreneur. So a strong brand not only sets your business apart from competitors, but it also creates a lasting impression in the minds of your target audience. So I'd like to share a few points on how to best establish and promote your brand. So just want to check, sorry, one last time if my slides are moving. Okay, yeah. So start by identifying your brand's core value, your mission, your vision. What does your business stand for? You know, what problems does it solve? Then important to define your target audience. Who are your ideal customers? What are their needs and their preferences? Then to develop a unique selling proposition that sets out your brand apart from others. So choose a brand name that is easy to remember, that reflects your business and is available, very important, is available for domain registration and also social media handles. Design a professional and visual appealing logo that embodies your brand's identity and values. Create a set of brand guidelines is very important. So you have a standard to use throughout, whether it's your logo, your coloring, the sizing. So this could be used across all platforms, because consistency is the key to brand recognition. So create a professional website that is user-friendly, visually appealing, and mobile responsive. Utilize social media platforms, and I know we've got Beyonce in the house that will talk more about that later. So do regular posts, engaging content that aligns with your brand identity. Start a blog, produce valuable content such as videos, articles, and showcase your expertise and provide value to your audience. Then to develop a content strategy that addresses your audience pain points, educate them, and establish your brand as an authority in the industry. Share your content across different channels. There's so many channels available to us these days: social media, your website. You know more than I do on those. Then identify key influencers in your industry. I love these. You know, the ones that align with your brand value. Collaborate with them. That way you reach a far wider audience as well. Then always most important is to deliver a high quality product and service that exceeds your customers' expectation. Focus on exceptional customer service and actively engaged with your customers through social media and these other fabulous free channels we have available. Encourage your customers to share their experiences and testimonials. This is also my favorite. So user-generated content adds authenticity to your brand and also helps build trust. Attend industry events, conferences, networking opportunities to network with potential partners and customers. Networking is such a powerful tool, and it is, you know, to collaborate with, you know, complementary businesses for co-marketing efforts. You know, you also are just so much more powerful and reach such a bigger audience. So frequently, this is also very important to monitor and adjust. So frequently analyze your brand's performance metrics, your engagement levels, your customer feedback, and be open to making those changes and to adjust your strategy depending on the market trends, on your customer feedback and preference. It's important to listen to your customers. Then remember, so building a strong brand takes time and consistent effort. Consistency is one of the most important aspects. It is about creating a meaningful connection with your target audience and delivering value that resonate with them. So if there are anyone attending that are a product manufacturer looking to promote a product brand into the environmentally conscious and sustainability focused market, you need to build trust in your brand. So undertaking third-party certification and emphasizing ingredient transparency can be highly beneficial to achieve this. So these steps can help you access eco-conscious markets and enhance your brand credibility. So here's how you can go about doing that. So research and identify reputable third-party certification programs or eco-labels that align with your product's sustainability attributes and values. So eco-labels such as Global Green Tag, Energy Star, Organic Certification, Fair Trade, and others provide consumers and businesses with assurance and product environmental and ethical standards. Certification can enhance your product's credibility, appeal to health and environmentally conscious consumers, and it opens the doors to markets focused on green and green procurement. So the certification is not just applicable to building products and interior products. So any personal healthcare, beauty products, cleaning products. We even have recently certified toilet paper. So there are a lot of different types of standards. Then provide detailed information about your material ingredients in the manufacturing process. About your product. So we've already said, feels like I'm repeating this slide. We've, and again, collaborate with organizations that offer ingredient verification and disclosure services. So those can be companies that do third-party testing and validation of your product's claims. So if your product is relevant to the construction or building industry, such as materials used in construction or interior design, consider aligning with the green building rating schemes like Green Star and LEED. These rating schemes assess the sustainability and environmental performance of buildings and interiors. So being recognized by these schemes can help you tap into the green building market. So LOHAS, so that's the lifestyle and health of sustainability. So LOHAS consumers prioritize health, sustainability, and social responsibility. So tailor your marketing efforts to resonate with this demographic by highlighting your product's eco-friendly attributes, your certification, and ethical practices. So ingredient and supply chain transparency is a significant driver in this market specifically, and avoidance and perceived greenwash claims. So incorporate your eco-label and certification prominently on your product packaging, on your website, your marketing materials, social media. I mean, you can have it on your email signature. There's so many ways to use your certification once you have achieved that. And share your story about your commitment to sustainability, your journey to obtain certification, and the positive impact your product have on the environment. So the most important for me is continuous improvement. So continuously seek ways to improve your product's eco-friendliness, reduce your environmental footprint, and stay updated with the evolving industry standards. By aligning your product brand with third-party certification, ingredient transparency, and green building standards, you position yourself as a credible and trustworthy player in the eco-friendly and sustainable focused markets, allowing you to effectively tap into that LOAS and green procurement segment. So just very quickly about Global Green Tax. So we are a recognized multi-award-winning Type 1 eco-labeling product scheme. So we are in over 70 countries. So the certification, basically, it simplifies the selection of environmentally sustainable, healthy, and ethical products for industries like architecture, design, construction, personal care, and cleaning. So I'm going to come back to these 3 takeaways. I just wanted to see how the timing, I'm still good for time, I think, right, Andy?
Yes, perhaps
Okay.
like 2 minutes top or 3.
2 minutes. Okay, so I want to just quickly, because we spoke a little bit about greenwash, but I want to make sure you understand what greenwash means. So first of all, the word greenwash, it's so manufacturers globally have realized that green is becoming a major selling point. So without changing the product, they often just use marketing words and graphics and not the science to create their message. So good sounding words not backed by performance. So this has created a marketplace flooded with product greenwashing through their market claims. So the market no longer trusts manufacturers' claims, and this has created distrust in sustainability overall. So, but the market is fighting back and on greenwashing. So I think it's best you understand what greenwash entails. So with so many industry buzzwords and certifications, it's increasingly hard for people to distinguish between what are and what are not relevant environmental credentials even. So also finding out which products are safer and eco-friendlier is a lot harder than it seems. So even if a company boasts eco-friendly branding on their packaging, their website, their social media, it doesn't automatically mean that they are wholly positive effect on the environment. So the 7 sins of greenwashing was developed to help consumers identify products that make misleading environmental claims. So I'll just want to go through them very quickly. So this number 1, the sin of the hidden trade-off. So labeling a product as environmentally friendly based on a small set of attributes. For example, it's made the recycled content, when other attributes not being addressed, like the energy used or manufacturing or the gas emissions, might make a bigger negative impact on the eco-friendliness of a product as a whole. So, for example, eco-friendly paper. So the paper might come from a sustainable forest, but they're not mentioning about the whole energy use and gas emissions during the whole process. The sin of no proof. So claims that just cannot be verified or proved by reliable third-party certification. The sin of vagueness. So it's a claim that is so broad that the real meaning is likely to be misunderstood by consumers. For example, all natural. So arsenic, uranium, mercury, formaldehyde are all naturally occurring and poisonous. So all natural does not necessarily mean green. Another good example is when manufacturers say a product is sustainable without providing measurable details like the carbon footprint or test results. So as to why their product is sustainable. So the sin of irrelevance. So there's the claim might be truthful, for example, CFC free, but it's been banned by law. So it's pretty much irrelevant still even mentioning it. So the sin of the lesser two evils. So claims that may be true within a product category, but it's distracting from the greater environmental impact of the category as a whole. For example, organic cigarettes might be organic, but it's still pretty much gonna probably kill you. Then the sin of fibbing, claims that are just simply not true, which doesn't happen too often, luckily. Then the 7th sin is the sin worshipping of false eco-labels. So where manufacturers create their own graphics and logos that make it look like a third party has been certified. So okay, so sorry, y'all, that was the end. But I thought I included the logo. I had some logos, but you will notice on packaging, you must have all seen the logo with the recycling logo or 100% organic, 100% eco-friendly. Those logos really mean nothing because there's no party behind that logo that have said it is recyclable, recycled, or 100% organic. So those are just graphics to confuse you, or a little tree with a tick. They don't mean anything. So sorry, I did say I wanted to go back to my 3 takeaways quickly.
Yes.
So I wanted to leave you with that. Sorry for jumping around. So, okay, can you see that?
Yes. I think it's sharing now. Perhaps you can move back. Now it's it's a dark screen. Okay.
Okay. So yeah, we were doing so well.
It's all good. It's all
Okay,
good.
now you can see it.
Yes. So we can share that screen.
Okay, you can see that. So I think it's when there we go. Okay. Yeah. So the importance, so number 1 for me is the importance of avoiding greenwashing and ensuring credibility through certification. Then it's how important and urgent it has become, and to build any business and brand from an ethical and sustainability focused foundation. And then my last and favorite one is to encourage people to collaborate with other eco-friendly brands, environmental organizations, and green initiatives to amplify your brand's presence and impact. And then I just had my contact details and any questions.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, there's a lot that we can pick or take out from this, aside your key takeaways, in terms of defining the brand strategy or the brand, your business, the brand, and then aligning it with eco-friendly measures. It's not just words, right? You need to have the certification. You need to make it practical. I just want to understand in terms of just one question, and then we'll just set the scene for our panel discussion. Definitely that's going to touch more on what you've shared. In African entrepreneurs, and then with the products that we produce and the things that we take to our market, our various markets. Supposing we have a business that claims to be green in cosmetics, the cosmetic industry for an instance, and then they are using organic, stuff. They said their creams are organic and it's natural and it's this and that. How would they equally run through the various certification and rating to ensure that what they are saying in terms of the product, is there some institution that can test it to validate that this is actually, legit organic product, this is actually green, produced out of some measures? Is that something you can share with us on those, some learnings on that one? And then in terms of packaging, putting the product out there, because now the world is going, we are all going green in words, okay, practicalizing it in packaging. What are the kind of advice you can give us in packaging products quickly for the African market and then also for the global markets?
Okay, so definitely there are third-party certifications. So an eco-label looks at a product in a whole. So they don't only just look at the ingredients. We actually do consider the whole manufacturing process, the manufacturing facility. We look down the supply chain to all the suppliers' manufacturing facilities. We look at the ingredients, which organic, like I said earlier, same as natural, does not make your product green. And even biodegradability, and that word is used very incorrect most of the time. So we look at all of that. Then we even look at a company CSI commitment. We look at the packaging. So we look at your marketing claims. So you can't complete your certification until your marketing claims comply with the ISO standard. It's the ISO 14021. So you're not allowed to use words like green, organic without having the evidence. So an eco label cover everything. So it's not just the ingredients. We don't do the testing. So we would require tests from recognized laboratories that qualify to a certain standard. So that is what the whole going through the assessment and getting an eco label will guide you through the whole process, and it will help you to optimize your packaging. For example, we only allow certain type of packaging depending on the kind of product. So, you have a chance to actually make changes to align your product to qualify in all those sectors, the packaging to the ingredients to what you claim on the packaging about it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Lizette, for this insightful. I think there are a lot of things that our audience have actually written down that are going to inform their business. There's a question in the chat box, but then what we are going to do is to make an attempt to answer it during the panel discussion. So, Vivian, don't worry, we're going to answer your question. So, Lizette, thank you. On the 7th sense, I think one of the sayings that we are mostly, probably in my observation, is vagueness. Clarity of what we do, the specificity on what we do. Sometimes we are very vague, just as you said, with the use of words and all that. I'm quite curious to know what our panelists think about that. And then the no proof, sense of no proof. So thank you so much for setting the scene for us and for making sure that we pick on the thoughts that you've shared and expand on it. You mentioned the CSI. Just for our audience, those who probably do not know what CSI means, it means corporate social investment, right? Did I get it right? Corporate social investment, correct. Okay, so I'm going to welcome our panel.
Sorry, just very quickly. So Vivian, just to Vivian's question. So there, my contact details, I did share. I don't know if it's still on the screen, the website where you could find a list of certified products. And then I'm sure if there'll be a platform to make my presentation available if you wanted to go through some of the notes,
Yes.
and the contact details will be there as well. So thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome.
It's great.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so if you are here and you're just joining, you are live from the African Entrepreneurship Forum. This third quarter session, and we are talking branding marketing strategies for businesses to thrive in this cutthroat marketplace. And you've just listened to Lizette, who is the Executive Director for Global Green Tag Africa, the Director for Global Green Tag Africa. She's giving us a lot of things to think about and to position or influence, let this insight influence how you do business, basically. I have with me amazing people within the field of branding, marketing, corporate engagement. I mean, someone who works with an insurance company, Old Mutual, as a marketer, a specialist within the field of marketing, called Liviness Imele. So let me have once I mention your name and do the introduction and all that, kindly turn on your video so that we'll just, assemble all of you here to just pick up from where Lizette left off, and then we will just build our points moving forward. So I have with me today, I have Liviness Imela, who is a corporate marketer. Her 9-to-5 is with Old Mutual. She's in Malawi. So if you have people from Malawi here, please have your rep in the house. We try as much as possible to get everybody from every corner of Africa as possible representing, as we normally do on the African Entrepreneurship Forum, powered by the Shared Africa Initiative, Shared Value Africa Initiative Africa. So forgive me for messing it. We'll hold your horses, no worries. Okay, we have the Beyonce for branding, Amanda Sibia. She's the Sasha Fierce of branding. She's the founder and lead strategist for Branding Africa. And we have my own countryman with a French name, Gilles Ametepe. He's the co-founder of Ghana for Startups and a storytelling enthusiast. He believes that storytelling is a tool that we haven't really utilized within the startup ecosystem, innovation ecosystem in Africa. He believes that storytelling can really drive the impact and influence people within your business. You heard a lot from Lizette, touching base on crafting your brand with the right words and all that. He's an expert within that field. And we have Patty. Patty is also, if we have a Beyonce here, perhaps she's the Rihanna. And Patty Sangmo, she's the strategy. She works with strategy. She's the strategy. So Patty is an interesting person. I see the name of her business as what she embodies. Okay, so branding strategies, marketing strategies. She's passionate about marketing and how marketing can actually drive impact and make African businesses become a household names, both locally and internationally. Let us move straight into the discussion now. Did I do a good job introducing all of you? Liviness, Amanda, have I touched on everything? Awesome. Thank you. Let's move right into the discussion. Okay, hey, I nearly messed up Lungi. Guys, forgive me. Longiswa is my sister from the shared value side of things. She is also a brand, she's an ambassador for branding, okay? She's an ambassador extraordinaire, an ambassador for so many initiatives. Longi is incredible. She's an ambassador for enterprising women. I am remarkable with Google, okay? A global brand ambassador for this entity. And then Pursue Your Purpose, right? Pursue Your Purpose LLC. She's a strategist, a researcher, and a creative. And if she should share about her passion, she would definitely be talking within the nexus of creativity, change, culture, focused on leadership, change, and then impact. Longi talks around all those things. And then creativity and change, culture is always what I hear her be talking about. And so she's going to bring all this perspective into our discussion today. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we've had a lot from Lizette on greenwashing, on how businesses, fail to really define their brand, and the sense. I think the sense of hidden trade-off, the sense of no proof, the sense of vagueness can be. You guys can relate to that because we have people who would, say that they are promoting a brand and building a business, but it's kind of very vague how the use of words, how they define their things. And they don't have any proof of what they are doing, but perhaps they are faking it till they make it. I think our last conversation, we had that on the African Entrepreneurship Forum. We had that to be some debates in the room where one of our speakers were actually like, fake it till you make it. I want to ask you, starting off with what you do, how do you see this sense within the industry, vagueness, no proof, and then perhaps hidden trade-offs, and then irrelevance? I think the sin of irrelevance also speaks to some of the things that we are talking about. An understanding of branding and marketing and the insights that we've had so far. With the insights, as I said, what stood out for me is the sayings, and then also, of course, the various, what we should think about in branding our business and promoting, defining a strategic brand for our business. Let us know. Let me start with Beyonce. Let me start with Beyonce. So Beyonce, what can you share with us with what Lisa shared so far?
Me.
And your learnings.
Well, I think when it comes to everything that Lizette mentioned, it boils down to the authority of the brand, because you're talking about, or, the vagueness, being authentic, rather authenticity of the brand and not necessarily authority. You are really going out there technically lying and saying, I do this, but I don't do that. And I don't think it only exists in the green tagging kind of industry. It exists everywhere. Everyone says something that they don't really do. And I think when it comes to entrepreneurs specifically, the minute you coin yourself CEO and founder, which, bless their hearts. Sometimes you're just self-employed. You're not a CEO or something else. You're not owning a business, or you're not an entrepreneur, you're just self-employed. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I'm just saying it starts with being authentic with yourself, firstly, and where your business is actually at. Instead of even saying, listen, our products are green, but are you even in business? Some people just, social media does this thing where you're going to say you are bigger than you are just because you're trying to look like an entrepreneur. You're going to say you hire 10 people, whereas you only have 2. You're going to say you've sold 10,000 units of your product, whereas you've only sold 2,000. So at the end of the day, it goes to the authenticity of that brand. If you're going to say you're organic, be organic. Don't just say you're organic. And I think when it comes to the entrepreneurial space, we need to be very careful in terms of, I think the social media space, digital space as a whole, has created a sense of faking it till you make it type of thing. It's look like you are not what you actually are. So I think it just calls for every entrepreneur who's on this call as well, and just every business owner that exists, to really be true to who they are as entrepreneurs firstly, and also have their products be true to what they actually do. If you're going to say that your product is going to make me lose weight, it better do that quick, fast, and hurry, you know. But I'm just saying, it's just like, it doesn't only exist in the green space, in the organic space, but it exists in every single industry. Whether you are like selling water or not, you're selling purified, doesn't matter which industry it is. I think it cuts through every single industry when it comes to questioning the authenticity of a specific brand.
Awesome. Longi, I'm wondering what you would want to add to that from more like the strategy and the creativity perspective. What can you add to that? Now, of course, taking on the thoughts that Lizette shared, and speaking on the prior thoughts Lizette shared.
Yeah, I think, thanks, Andrews. I think Amanda is definitely right. It's not just in the green space or the environmental space. You get a lot of people that are also purpose washing, social washing even. So I'm working a lot with social impact brands, and that's really in the development space as well. And I think the danger with that is that you are painting a picture of achieving impact that cannot be verified, that is not even evidence-based. And when you are doing that in the long term, you are actually hurting people. You are actually undoing a lot of the good work that many socially driven businesses are actually doing. And at the end of the day, this is a trust issue for me, right? Because if you are building a brand, whether it is a service, whether it is a product, you want to be somebody that is trustworthy, because people do business with people that they trust. And how do you actually build trust? It's about what you are true to as yourself, as an entrepreneur, but also what you can verifiably show to stakeholders, to consumers, to funders, to businesses. And how do you do that? You do that by connecting with people in terms of their lived experience. You do that by responding to issues in an authentic way, in an ethical way. So when we are entrepreneurs, this isn't something that we only should be looking at doing once our businesses are growing and scaling up, but we need to embed those principles right from the beginning, at the earliest stages. I think that's really important.
Right from the beginning, at the earliest stages, we need to imbibe all those principles. The strategist, in light of this, how can a well-defined brand identity, create the various differentiation or perhaps build trust in the African markets based on your experience and in the work you do?
Okay, so thank you so much for the question, and thank you for my predecessors for the insightful things shared. So the primary thing I'm going to touch on is, marketing is basically amplifying what you're offering, right? So if you do not get the product right, if you do not get the solution you are offering right, your marketing becomes a problem. You are not able to sell the value that you're bringing on board. The other side of the coin is amplifying something that you do not have. So your marketing is going to paint a certain picture, and then you get clients coming in and they will realize that, no, this is not what I signed up for. And then you start losing business, you start losing money. So it all boils down to that. You must get it right from the beginning. Get your product right, get the solution you are offering right. And truly, they said it's not only in the green space, it cuts across. You must ensure that you're doing ethical things so that once the consumer gets into the door, they are not going back out, right? And we say that it costs a lot less to get a client to come back than acquire a new customer. So once you get the solution right and you are marketing right, you're on a good path.
So once you get the solution right, the marketing can seamlessly be done, and then you'll be on a good path to success.
Exactly.
Liviness, when a startup or a business, perhaps in the social space, has realized that, okay, this is what I want to do. I I want to build a product that, of course, I'll get users, I'll get people purchasing it. How do they think about their positioning? So perhaps something that would resonate with their immediate market before they even think about promoting it to another place. So their positioning. And of course, defining the brand, defining what you do, getting your basics right before you do that. I want you to probably narrow your or speak on positioning of the business, and then the messages that would have to communicate what you do. What can you share about that based on your experiences?
Thanks, Andrews. I'll go down straight to research and insights. So just to concur with what everyone else is saying, the rest of the speakers have said, if you don't get the product right, no matter how good it seems in your eyes, but if it's not adding any value to that market that you're looking for, that's a miss. So unfortunately, for most entrepreneurs or for most businesses that are just starting out, sit down in the corner of your room and think of, okay, an idea, and then you take that idea and say, okay, let me implement the idea. But is that idea adding any value in that market or in that community? Do you even know, do you even understand the community that you're trying to serve? So you get out with a product that could possibly maybe target just a niche market, but because you didn't get the insights of you didn't understand your market at all, you think everyone is going to get that product. So if you miss that, then you probably miss everything to do with your positioning. So your positioning strategy is wrong, your communication is wrong, your distribution strategy is wrong, and then 1 year, 10 years, or 5 years down the line, you find yourself that, no, it's not working. But did you get the insights before you produce this brand or this product to understand if it's indeed a need in that market, or possibly it's not a need in this market, but yes, I live in Malawi, but maybe this idea I have is a need in South Africa. So if I take this and position well in South Africa market, but maybe for this specific, for this specific market, I'll possibly do well. But because we miss that, then we miss everything in terms of the success now of that business throughout.
Thank you. I saw Jill's nodding with positioning, and then your ability to even communicate. Once you do your research, understand your market, the needs of your market, and all that. You have worked with startups, I mean, for as long as I can remember, and your major thing that you often advocate for, aside policy within the innovation space, is storytelling. And there's a question here that actually the person just did it for me. Is there a growing appetite? And there's a question I'm reading from Koleka. He said, is there a growing appetite and audience for the concept of creative and emotional storytelling as an effective tool of messaging? Right? And I think from Amanda spoke about, the ability to actually overpromise and underdeliver. I think Longi also touched on that. These are things that perhaps appeals to your customer, emotionally appealing and all that. What can you advise us within this narrative of the concept of creative and emotional storytelling as an effective tool in light of storytelling that actually promotes the brand?
So we do advocate for storytelling, but we don't want fake storytelling. I personally would say that if we even call this greenwashing, we are being too kind. It's actually bleaching, pure bleaching. And it is all right to appeal to people's emotion, but appeal to people's emotion based on facts, based on real value. Okay, I will not consume Ghanaian products simply because they are Ghanaian products. I'll consume Ghanaian products if they offer the same value I will get if I'm consuming American products. I'll consume Ghanaian products if they are suitable for my needs at that particular point in time. All right. So that's how the consumer thinks. So no matter how you engage in this emotional storytelling and all, as far as the people are not getting value, they will not buy into it. And the whole emotional storytelling isn't just about service, products, marketing and stuff, but even fundraising. One thing we are seeing across the African innovation ecosystem, and even to a certain extent, the global ecosystem, is that people package things in certain light that they are not, and they raise huge amounts of money, whilst the people who are creating the real value, who can offer something good to the market, don't get that same opportunity. So by the time you get there, then it's like they have already muddied the waters for you. And that is one of the things that is hindering growth in our entrepreneurial ecosystem, because the forebearers are doing a lot of things wrong. So you see this organization raise millions of dollars, claiming that they are embarking on a Pan-African expansion, and they only move from one region to the other in their own home country. And then after 2 years, they are folding up. We keep seeing this. And I think one thing as well that businesses don't want to do anymore is to grow with their markets. These days, we have a lot of talks of expansion. Everybody wants to get into the Nigerian market, for example. But your home turf doesn't know you. They mention your brand in circles in your own country, no one knows you. But you want to get into Nigeria, you want to get into Kenya, you want to go into Malawi, go to South Africa, go to Egypt, and you cook figures for investors. And sometimes they do buy into it. All right. Yeah. But I think we need to get to that point where we call a spade, and we call people out on such things, so that the people who come after them don't repeat the same mistakes. It is because people are getting away with stuff like this that everybody keeps doing it. Because, oh, this guy did it. Nothing happened to him. So we can also get away with it. We'll continue doing that. And it is wrong. We are hoping that the African innovation ecosystem is going to grow. Since Andela, Jumia, and that generation of African startups, we are struggling to get the next unicorns. We are struggling to get the next unicorns on the continent. And all these little mistakes we are doing are also contributing to hinder the growth of our ecosystem. So yes, it is fine to be an emotional storyteller, to be creative with your storytelling, but be truthful, be real, show the real value, and be ready to grow with your market.
Fantastic. Lungi, your hand is raised. You have been recognized.
Yeah, thanks. I really love what Jill is saying, because it comes down to this, a core tenet of how you build a brand is on how you keep your promise. If you don't keep your promise, you lose people. So it's great if you can hook somebody on an emotional cue, right? And we can all be really creative with that. But when you want to be very clear about the narrative that you want to bring through your brand's voice, how authentic you want to be about it, you need to remember that people are going to come back and hold you to your word. And we are Africans here, right? We all have the experience, even for the most part, of governments, our own governments, letting us down. We are seeing a huge resurgence across the continent of people responding to that in a revolutionary way. The same applies when you are building a business. It applies. And we also need to really be cognizant of the fact that the way that we are building narratives about what African entrepreneurs and African businesses can deliver, it talks to how we are challenging perceptions around narratives that have been harmful for our continent for a long time. And it's not just narratives that are coming from other parts of the world. It's even the way that we think and speak about one another throughout the continent. So I love what he said. I'm not going to support a certain brand just because it's South African, just because it's Pan-African. Are you keeping your promise? Are you adding your value? Are you helping to solve the problem in my life, in my community, with my children? If you're not, then what are we doing? I really love what he said.
Wow. I mean, there's a lot for us to say about that, but I want us to get a bit, let's practicalize this now. We are in Africa, we know businesses here, we want to trade amongst ourselves. We want to do business with each other. Talk of the AFCFTA. We want to promote businesses that can penetrate. I want to produce businesses here and be able to market and easily penetrate in Kigali, in South Africa and all that. But as you said, we still have foreign businesses here that are making millions of dollars, that are getting the traction and getting the buy-in of people. How can we create brands or create build products that are needed, that solves a problem, that alleviates the various problems that someone is facing, and maintain consistency? Amanda, I want you to help me with this, with perhaps what you have gone through and how you've helped someone who maybe started with something that did not get any buy-in from anyone, but eventually moved through the phases of getting buy-in and even penetrating or entering into another market.
I think this is in the line of what Gilles mentioned in terms of, creating a global brand. You want to get into the Nigerian market and so forth. And in order to build a global brand, you need to be relevant in local markets. You cannot say, I'm in South Africa now, I really want to get into Nigeria, that's what I want to do. But if you're not relevant in local markets, building a global brand is simply impossible, honestly. And if you want to go build a global brand in Nigeria, let's say, it needs to be local, it needs to be relevant in that local market as well. Like, in order to build a global brand that even transcends continents, it really has to be relevant in that local market. But I want to take it all the way back, really, when it comes to branding and marketing in this conversation that we're having. And I think branding is such a complex, but yet so simple topic. But I think we need to kind of define what is branding, what is a brand, And I think a lot of people will get into, oh, my brand is my logo, my brand is my product. Let's start with that. Your brand is not your logo. Your brand is not your product. Your brand is not tangible. Right? A brand is a perception, is what people think about your brand. And at the end of the day, your brand is not what you say it is. It's not, hey, we have the best candles in the continent. It's got nothing to do with you. Your brand is what other people say it is. It's like someone mentioned in terms of the importance of your target audience. Listen, if you do not know the people you're selling to, just close shop and go find a 9-to-5 somewhere, because the thing is, I think we needed to take it back, because I think a lot of people have this perception that a brand, oh, if my logo looks great, that is my brand. No, that is merely a touch point of your brand. Okay, this is the way in which people interact with your brand is, oh, I see the logo, or I see the website, I see the product. Those are merely touch points of your brand, but those are not your brand. Your brand is a perception. So the importance of emotional storytelling, because a lot of people make emotional buying decisions. People buy things, oh, I like it. I buy it because it's from my neighbor. I buy it because it's from Ghana. And that I'm from Ghana as well. So a lot of people make emotional buying decisions. So emotional storytelling becomes important in order to kind of speak to the perception of your brand. And building a brand, I'm not sure who said this, it takes time, right? I think it was Lizette who said that. It takes time. Consistency. If there is no time and consistency in building your brand, it honestly will get lost. So even in that, and I really wanted everyone who's on this call to understand that your brand is not something that's tangible. It's not your logo. And even going further into the conversation, once you understand what a brand is generally, you know how to build it even further. So if you want to get into a separate market and you want to build into, or rather infiltrate other markets, infiltrate other countries, you need to understand that building a global brand, it starts with being relevant in your local market. If you cannot penetrate the community around you, your next door neighbor, the person who's like 5-minute drive away, it's going to be even harder for you to try and penetrate a market you probably don't even know in a different country altogether. So it's like, be relevant in your local market in order for you to build a global brand. And I think we become so fixated with wanting to grow so much that you're not growing with your market, you're not growing with your, like if Lizette or the people if my other panelists don't know what I do, and I'm expecting the real Beyonce in America to know what I do, what am I expecting? honestly. So if I'm not relevant in my local market, it's going to be 110% difficult for me to even think I can build a global brand. So that's my 2 cents. But I really wanted to take it back in terms of, let's actually understand what a brand is.
What a brand is. What a brand is. I mean, at the moment, we have businesses that have, I mean, of course, the founder may be a Ghanaian, and he or she decided that the Ghanaian market doesn't need this product that I want to build. I mean, there is not product market fit here. And so I want to go and then launch in another market. I want to try and then establish another market and all that. And I think Living has touched on research and, you know, market research, knowing the needs of the market and all that. I want to go back to an issue of defining the brand guidelines. Perhaps if you are here and you find yourself in that same space where there is no perception that you can create within a certain market that you are in, and you want to go and launch in another place. The strategies, Patty, how do people begin to think about defining their guidelines and maintaining consistency across various marketing channels that they would eventually use? How can you help us to?
Okay, so I'll try and make this as simple as possible, because usually it's like a lot of work.
I know, it's a lot.
Lots of work goes into that. So I'll tell you a little story. I'm a fan of good scents, home scents and all of that. So I like diffusers, candles and all of that. And just recently, a friend of mine was bugging me in church that he sells, this diffuser, which I use. And I have my regular supplier that I buy from. I have a particular scent that I buy. So this guy is bugging me, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to get yours. I get his, and I get home. I do my cleaning, everything. I place it where I usually place it, and I'm like, something is off. I said, you know what? Let me just. So I go to bed. I wake up the next day. And I just knew that it is not it. That is not it. It's an imitation of what I usually buy. So because they had been so consistent, which is also touching on what Amanda is saying, said a few minutes ago, they had been so consistent with their product quality that immediately I got an off one, I could tell, right? I couldn't tell by the packaging. I couldn't tell by how the bottle looked, because it was exactly the same thing. It was just a difference in placement of the scent, the name of the scent. So because I knew the product, I could tell that no, this is not it. And then I went to check the packaging, and then I was able to, identify the difference. So I told the guy that you need to check whoever your supplier is. So that brings me to the first point, that consistency starts with the product quality, right? Consistency starts with the product quality. You cannot be consistent with your logo, your brand colors, and all the other things, and your product is on and off. That is how your competitors are going to, or the people that are replicating your brand are going to win over your market, because there's no standard that we are marking you by. That's the first thing. So consistency starts with that. Now, what are the guidelines? Having guidelines basically is, you are not going to be running your socials forever by yourself. You are not going to be the one posting on your Instagram by yourself forever. You get to a point where you would delegate the role. You want to become a global brand. So there could be somebody, you are in Joburg, but there could be somebody in Accra managing your Accra, socials, your Instagram on Accra, your Twitter. The person should be able to speak without us not knowing that it is not Aroma, or it's not Nicholas posting, right? So your brand guidelines basically is that thing, the box that helps us maintain the consistency. So your colors, right? Your brand promise, your there are a lot of things. Your brand promise, your colors, your
website,
messaging, your messaging, your core values, your personality, all of those things should be mapped out so that when you are not there, I think 2 weeks ago, I had a class on building systems and structure. Unfortunately, when we are thinking of systems and structure, we only think about the manufacturing bid, how we are managing our talent, our employees and all of that. But our branding, our marketing also needs systems and structure, so that on days that you cannot show up, let's say you fall ill and you still need to generate revenue, iParty should be able to have a document that tells me exactly what to do to be able to sell your product on Instagram or to be able to sell your product on Facebook. So that's basically it. Sit down and think through. I'm not going to go the workshop route or the masterclass route and tell you that do A, B, and T, but just sit down and analyze what has been working for you so far, right? Note it down. Then look at where you aspire to go to. So if you are driving or you use an Uber or you use a Lyft service, before they show you the route, you need to pin where you are, and then you pin where you want to go to. So you need to identify where you are now, where you stand with your branding, with your marketing. Then you identify where you want to go to. Then what do I need to do? What are other brands, the brands that are doing better than me doing when it comes to the consistency, when it comes to communication? Then you put those measures in place and you'll be on the right track to the amazing
to
stuff.
do well, to succeed.
Yeah.
And to get the customer, to get more money. Please, a quick housekeeping rules. I would humbly ask that if we are connecting, we would like to see your faces and all that, but kindly be muted, okay, so that there wouldn't be any interaction. We had a few people, talking in the background and all that. So thank you very much for muting and for maintaining quality, great strategies here now for us to take off this brand called Africa Entrepreneurship Forum. Okay, I would want to quickly do a poll now just to get the sense of what we are all thinking about in terms of the African entrepreneur. How are we effectively harnessing the power of branding for our businesses? You, the entrepreneur, there will be a poll that will be popped up right now. Please let us know. Are you effectively harnessing the power? Where do you stand based on the conversation that has transpired so far before I get the thought of leaving us? And then we are getting to a certain nice place that I like so much. I want to take a thought. Okay, please answer. Okay, I hope everybody's answering. Have African entrepreneurs effectively harnessed the power of branding for their businesses? Okay, can we get the results? 8% yes, absolutely. And 76% we have, but we can do more. I like that. No, branding is not a priority for most businesses. 16%. Liviness, taking thoughts from here now. We can get a sense of, based on what we've said so far, now we can seem to understand that, okay, now people are beginning to second guess themselves. They are questioning themselves, asking themselves some few things. Okay, with your experience, I mean, from the corporate side of things, what Old Mutual does, corporate marketing, your branding, and I know that you also support entrepreneurs with mentorship with Leave, right? How often do you see those things pop up? Even with a small poll that we've asked ourselves currently, branding now in Africa and marketing, you believe we can do more also, I guess. But then what are the lapses? Of course, there are thoughts that have been shared so far with your engagement from the corporate side and also with your mentorship and all that, your daily conversation. What are the challenges that entrepreneurs find? What challenge do they find or what challenge that they encountered most frequently in defining and really putting their brand out there and having something that's very compelling brand?
Thank you so much, Andrews. It's a good question, and it's a tricky one because we just had a poll. So I know everyone is trying to say, okay, so what's the problem? I'll I'll say, I think the biggest problem is that even for a setup of a business, previously, I think it's now that we are starting to embrace marketing as one of the main angle of business. Previously, it was, no, it's part of operations. You get the sense. And even for large corporates, it's something like a piece of the business. So the first thing, you develop the product, you put it on the market, and then you see, no, you're not getting the results. Then you say, oh, maybe let me put in marketing. So it's a secondary, activity for most.
For most businesses, it's an afterthought. They think about marketing later. Oh, too bad, leaving us network. You know, there's another issue with Africa, connectivity. I think we'll have very serious conversation about connectivity, guys. We're having something very exciting going on. I realize somebody just cuts off. But on the thoughts that live in us, based on the thoughts, the problems that we are frequently encountering and all that. Jills, perhaps maybe I'm not sure you can really speak on what she was thinking and how she would have addressed it, but in your own words, with your own experience, what can you share based on
that? You know, the dynamics in Africa are different. Most of the times, it's like the playbook is not African. The playbook is foreign, and we are trying to apply it to the African context. So you can see some discrepancies in brand building in Africa. So I know that Amanda had already, Beyonce and he had already highlighted the fact that the focus is on getting a logo, the color looks good, you know, it's all rosy, but branding goes beyond that. All right, and branding is as successful as the people you are communicating to receive it. So you can do the best branding, but if the people are not buying into it, it means your branding is failing. It's as simple as that. You don't need any scientific research, right? If you have come up with an awesome brand, as you define it to be awesome, and the people you are targeting do not buy into it, you have failed. That is being realistic with you. All right. So the branding involves, or the reception involves, you know, starting getting some sales up, some referrals up, or even considering giving you a meeting in the first place if you want to raise or whatsoever, right? So it involves a lot. It's not just about getting a very nice Instagram page and then buying likes. You know, and these days, because you can do, you know, you can advert on those platforms, you go on some startups page, you see some particular post got like 10,000 likes, but their average is already 100, 200, 100, 200, 100, 200. And it gives the impression as if people are buying into it, but when you look a bit deep, you know that no, they are not. All right, even though we cannot necessarily use likes on social media as a metric for business growth, it still tells a certain story. Okay, so you need to get to that point where you don't force a foreign playbook on Africa. The African culture is very complex. Let's take the West African sub-region, for example. The way a typical Togolese will react towards a brand coming from the UK is not the same way Ghanaian would. Even though we are neighbors, we are brothers, we are like the same people, right? But culture is dynamic, and a lot of things influence culture. So if you don't take all those things into consideration, you'll be building a brand for you and your family. No one is going to buy into it. And when you are getting into a new market, new dynamics, new market, new culture, new market, new feel, new vibe, new taste. You know what the red color may mean to a Ghanaian is not the same thing it means for a Chinese, right? So you need to take all those things into consideration. So you come back to research, you come back to insight, and you come back with the will to invest in building a brand. A lot lots of entrepreneurs are not ready to invest in brand building. They are not ready to invest in marketing, right? You can have the best of products. We are in a globalized world right now. People can sit in their office in Malawi and get a product from France. Someone can sit in Ethiopia and get something from Egypt. You don't need to go to a store anymore. So when you have such a setting, you adjust, you adapt, you change things, you align. All right. So it is very important that we get that conversation to that point where entrepreneurs get to the point where they need to know that they need party, they need Amanda, they need experts to help them get there. Obviously, at the beginning, you may not afford it. So you can, you can be doing the 1 + 1 = 2 at the beginning. But as your brand is growing, start investing. You've been using the same logo for 20 years. The same brand feel, the same brand experience for 20 years. You have never consulted anybody to do a brand assessment for you. Right? Sometimes, you check the news and you see, this company, Pepsi, Coke, and Nike, they've consulted someone, or they've, brought in an expert, and then they designed a brand for them for $1 million. It doesn't make sense to you. But listen, you buy it. You buy the product. Because they are investing. You think it's just the logo, but it's the experience they're investing in. The packaging. If you buy a typical made in Africa drug from traditional pharmacies, right? The packaging is awful, but the drug may be quality. It may be topmost quality. It may even be more suitable for your health than what you are getting from France or from the UK or from the US. But the packaging is awful. And those things speak to people. So you need to adapt, you need to adjust, and you need to grow with your brand, and let the whole brand experience also grow as your company is growing as well.
Fantastic thoughts there. On cultural nuances and perhaps product adoption in various markets, and even the buy-in that you can get from key stakeholders, to an extent your customer base increases. I want us to get more clarity on that. Longi, on culture, of course, Africa is not a country. I saw you text that in the chat box. We have different things that goes on with us. Defining a certain understanding with our brand that this thing, I have to do X, Y, or Z to be able to get a buy-in from this country. What are the things that you can share with us, the learnings and the things that you can do in terms of cultural nuances, adoption, and then also the buy-in that we can get from customers? We would take a quick round of questions after this last round, and then we'll be heading towards the wrap-up of this session. I know it's getting exciting, but we are running against time, as you always know. When the conversation gets insightful and then exciting, check your time and it'll be like, oh, there's not much time left. So Longi, help us with the cultural stuff. I'm sure people are thinking about that. And of course, branding, as Amanda said, is perception driven, and culture has a way of also influencing people's mindset about your business.
Thanks, Andrews. I think when it comes to cultural nuances, first, we have the challenge number one of dismantling incorrect perceptions about what we as Africans are and what we have to offer, right? So the whole sort of global narrative, always talking about Africa as though it's just one country. We need to first overcome those kind of perceptions. But I think as entrepreneurs and small growing businesses, for you to look into how you can grow into other markets throughout the continent, I would say that the best thing is to collaborate. We need to lean into one another's strengths. And this is exactly why we have platforms like the African Entrepreneurship Forum. I don't think we take enough of an advantage of calling on each other, leaning into each other's expertise so that we can better understand the context for different markets, for different regions. Exactly what Jill is saying. We might assume that, for example, East Africa has a certain way of doing things. It's different communities, it's different countries, it's different trends. And the only way you're really going to do that, and I think maybe this is something that Levinas can talk to, which is an important aspect around market research. You need to understand what are the trends, what is developing in different parts of the continent, what is developing in specific countries, how are you going to respond to that? And I think we don't always invest enough time in doing the homework from a brand research point of view, so that our strategies, our route to market strategies, our value chains, all of that can be better informed. Maybe Levinas can just finish my thought on it, because I think from a research point of view, you can really talk very directly there.
Absolutely.
So much. Thanks. And apologies. That was a shame, but I'm back now. On point, Lungi, on point. Research and marketing. So they're actually going together. You've got research, you have the issue of collaboration, stakeholder management, and understanding your stakeholders.
Yes.
Things that we overlook. We just think because I have this product, I have this idea, then that's it, it will flourish on its own. No, understand the market, regardless of where you are, and collaborate. Collaborate, entrepreneurs, and this is not just a message to entrepreneurs, even to us in the corporate world. It's a very important issue to talk about collaboration. And in terms of research, we're talking about being consistency. Research is not just a one-off thing. Yes, you've done your research, your market research, to understand the viability of the market. I want to produce this product. Is it making sense in this market? Yes, you understand. You're able to get the nuances to say, all right, I've got customers, they'll be able to buy my product. You produce a product, you put it there. I think Jules, somebody touched it, that it doesn't just live there. For 20 years, you have the same positioning, logo, the same branding, the same logo. Come on, guys. You've seen even bigger brands that come back and say, we are rebranding. This is our rebranding strategy. It means it's important. They didn't just do that, but they went back to the market. They did more, they got more insights, they did more research, and they got to understand what is it that our customers are looking for. So it's going together, and then you're coming back to say, all right, now let's reposition ourselves so that we're not dead. Yes, we've been here for 100 years, but in that 100 years, people are not tired of our name. Every time they come back to us, it's like it's a fresh brand that they're looking at. So those things should go together, research, and it's a continuous assessment of the market. It doesn't just end at that development strategy. I mean, at that development point to say, I've developed a product, I've put it on the market, then that's it. It has to be continuous, try to get more of the insights of the same market that you're servicing, because the needs of the customers will definitely change over time. So you need to understand what is it that they're looking for now. Stakeholder management, networking. Our keynote speaker talked about networking. Yeah. You need to understand. It doesn't matter that I'm Malawian and yes, I'm building this global. I'm in Nigeria. Nigeria is not an easy country. Come on, trust me. You need to understand the culture of Nigeria. You not just excel because it was doing well in Malawi, then you will definitely do well everywhere. So understand and collaborate. I've been disappointed so many times to work with entrepreneurs to say, okay, we're looking for this. We're looking for this. Can you deliver this? And they say, no, we cannot manage. You don't say that to a customer. If this is a customer that you have built a good relationship with, and you have told this customer that I'm always available to supply this, be willing to supply that. And if you're not able to, now that's where you bring in other your other players in the same industry to say, I have this order, can you assist? So that for you and your customer and your client, you have delivered. It doesn't matter that you have delivered through Andrews, but you have delivered. No, Andrews, you're in Ghana. I cannot manage to do this, but this is my big customer. Can you manage to do this for me? For you and Old Mutual, for example, you have delivered, but you used a collaboration. You used another vendor then that's where you need to leverage on partnerships. Yes, Jules, you've put it well. Leverage on partnerships to keep the brand promise. You've put it in the right way. Thank you so much.
I know Amanda has thoughts to add on to that. Amanda? You are muted. Don't worry.
Sorry.
I have another question on the use of digital tools within the context of marketing and then selling your product. I think Lungi or Jill spoke about that. So we'll touch on the use of social media. I mean, of course, search engine optimization and then search engine marketing. These are things that perhaps in other jurisdictions, they are very much prevalent. People use those tools. But in Africa, how do we contextualize and keeping in mind culture and the needs of our customers? How do we use marketing strategies that are consistent with what our people need? So Amanda, your thoughts on that, and then perhaps maybe you take a bite on my question. I just don't want to forget, so I've written it down, but I know time is not on our side. And then Patty will just come in with other perspectives. So Amanda.
I wanted to piggyback off of what Lungi and Lunas were talking about in terms of cultural adaptation, but bringing an actual case study that we can look at of a brand that we know. We have Nando's here in South Africa, and it's a well-known restaurant, right? And this happens with KFC and other food or other brands as well. But I want to speak about Nando's in particular. The marketing strategy that Nando's uses in South Africa is pretty, it's unique to South Africa. It won't make sense in any other context. But I want to speak about the product in essence. So the product, even like I'm saying, you can look at other brands, they do the same thing, KFC specifically. But when you come to the menu of what you see on, when you're going to a Nando's or a KFC and you see the menu they have there, it's particular to the taste of the people of that country. Because I spent some time in Chicago and there's a Nando's there as well. And in terms of branding, it's the same Nando's. You go inside, they're playing Amapiano. It feels like, yes, I'm in South Africa because it's a South African brand in that case. But when I looked at the menu, they're putting pineapples in a burger. And South Africans, why are you putting pineapples on a burger? But it was specific to the taste of the American taste bud. And even when you spend time in Nairobi and you go look at the KFC, it's like, why is this menu different to the South African menu? And you realize it was adapted to suit the taste or the taste buds of the people of that country. They might be used to very spicy taste or tasty, like different taste buds in that country. You cannot expect for a Nando's or a KFC to move from South Africa, be the same in Uganda, be the same in Ghana, be the same everywhere. It cannot be the same. So if a big brand like a KFC or a Nando's is considering cultural adaptation when it comes to their product, you as a small brand need to do the same thing, even when you move from community to community. Because if you're selling a specific product to maybe the suburban people within your same country, that same product is not going to do the same thing or be the same. When you move to a more rural or a township, it's not going to be the same thing. So the cultural adaptation from country to country, from community to community is absolutely important. And to just go off, bite from your question when it comes to using digital platforms in order to kind of expand your brand, I think it goes back to what I was saying in terms of your brand is a perception and your logo and social media are mere touch points of the way people can interact with your brand. And I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done in terms of how you message or your brand personality and your brand voice, because your social media becomes actual touch points of you speaking to people, because you put a personality on your brand to the point where people feel familiar with it. They feel like, oh, this is relevant. So being very personal on your social media is quite necessary for your brand not to feel like it's just an organization, but rather a person. Because the more personal it is, because Lungi mentioned that people buy from people that they trust, right? And people buy from brands that they trust, or people buy from people, technically. Right. And as a person, if I want to buy anything, I want to see the person behind it. I'm not going to buy maybe a masterclass from Patty without seeing Patty. If I don't see her face, I'm not going to trust this brand. Am I buying from a robot or am I buying from a person? Especially now in the rise of AI and everyone is using AI, I think there's a need to to be more personal than you were before, because before robots take our jobs, honestly, we need to be as personal as possible, and don't be afraid to show your face. Don't be afraid to show, to speak your voice. Don't be afraid to share your story as well, especially for your brand as well, because we need to be as personal as possible, especially in the rise of the fourth industrial revolution and AI itself. Thank you, Ivy.
Patty, what can you add to that in terms of the optimum use of digital tools, the most effective use of it for an African business, and then also personalizing the bit? Of course, Africa, we are in touch with people. We like to know the founders. We like to know who is behind this to create that integrity, brand, the trust, and the loyalty eventually. What can you share more on that with us? Can you share more on that with us?
Okay, so there's this thing that I always see, and I think that's the only thing I'm going to see when it comes to digital. Stop focusing on the algorithm. Stop creating for the algorithm and create for the people. Because the algorithm works based on what the people are engaging with. Do you understand? So it just flip the coin and stop chasing the reach, stop chasing the number of likes, stop chasing the, if your reel has gone viral or not. Because truth be told, you probably are not ready for the viral effect. Right? Your business is not ready to handle that viral effect. I know somebody who had to close her business for a while because she didn't have a website in place. She didn't have the right, customer onboarding in place. She makes handmade bags, the crochet bags. And you know how the diasporans love that. So it went viral, I think, in the US market, and everybody wanted it. Tons of people, like about 1,000 of people in her DMs asking, how much is this? How much is that? If she had the right, systems in place, she could have cashed out big time. She could have sold what she had available, and she could have opened pre-orders and then, made custom orders for the people that were interested, because you have the eyeballs, right? So the primary thing is creating for your customers, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason you created the product. There's a reason you created the solution. Find that problem, speak the language of the problem. There are like 3 levels of needs for the consumer. Amanda touched on one, which is the emotional need. There's the functional need. There's the social need. A lot of times we try to sell the functionality of the product, but there's a reason I want to buy that dress for that wedding, because my high school friends are going to be there. I need to show up looking nice, right? What I need to Mr. Right at the wedding, I need to show up looking a certain way. There are certain things driving our decision making. Find those things that are driving our decision making and use it to create content. Try to be as relatable as possible. You are not just here to take our money and bounce, right? Make us feel like you care about our problems. Give us solutions. And once we know that you care about solutions and not just the money, we will put our money there. It's some psychological thing that happens. People feel like you are just taking. Like, I'm on socials to ease off some stress. I just had a long day at work. I just want to ease off, and you are coming to, bombard me with this and that. But if you come through entertainment, if you come through education, if you come through the awareness of a problem that I have, I will give you the audience. And once you have my audience, I most likely will commit to doing business with you. It may not be immediately, but eventually I would even maybe recommend you to somebody. So when it comes to social, think about the people you are creating for. It doesn't end with the product. Everywhere you find yourself, think about the people you are creating for, and then communicate the value you are bringing to the market to solve their problems. That is basically it.
Wow. Thanks a lot for that. Think about the people, and it actually makes you different from the AI. The AI who would actually also be marketing and be showing some products online. Because when you personalize the business, when you think about the consumer, when you create narratives that relate to people, you can easily distinguish the difference between an artificial intelligence and then something that's more natural. Let me pick up final thoughts from all of you guys. This has been very insightful. And I know there's a lot that people have taken out of this. And you guys have done so well by sharing thoughts, quick insights, quick points in the chat box, just to help everybody to know where we are going. I like the quote, Sleeviness. If people believe they share values with a company, they will stay loyal to the brand. Awesome. Final thoughts, and then we take a poll, and then we'll call it a day. Jills, final thoughts. Inspirational.
It's been an amazing one. I think at the back of all the conversation, let's remember that you need to be intentional about brand building. You need to be intentional about brand building. Don't go on online and use a tool to create your social media content for you. We are seeing it and we are fishing it out.
ChatGPT creating social media.
People can read in between the lines. They can tell that this one, it's an AI that wrote this. Be intentional about brand building. I would say that would be my final.
Thank you. Merci beaucoup, mon ami. Amanda.
When you said it needs to be inspirational, you just put so much pressure.
Oh, sorry. Okay, it can be, a warning even, perhaps.
Geez, I think a warning, I'll really piggyback of what Patty said in terms of, make sure that your product is good, because a good marketing and good branding is not going to fix a bad product. It's not going to fix a bad business model. Okay. And I think I said in the chat that, putting good marketing on a bad product is like putting lipstick on a pig. It's still a pig. Okay. So I think just make sure that you have a good product, you have a good business model before you just say, oh, marketing will fix it. It probably won't. Work on your business model, work on your product, work to perfect it before you even slap $1 on the marketing effort. So don't put lipstick on a pig. Just make sure that it's not a pig, make sure you're selling good, something good that is needed for your audience as well. So I think to just go off of it, other entrepreneurs just want to be entrepreneurs because it's cool. It's not cool. It's tough on this side of the world. But I think you have to be quite intentional, like Jill was saying. But I think don't just slap good branding and marketing on a bad product. So work on your product, work on your business model. I hope that was inspirational.
Right. It is warning and an inspiration mixed between. Liviness.
Thank you. It's been amazing. It's been great. So my final 2 cents. Remember, as you're building your brand, the business that you're building, to also brand yourself. People want to see the face of the brand that you're building. So yes, you can build a good, believable brand, but when they look at, now let's meet the liveness, because it's the liveness that will first of all impress the people to say, buy my product. The question will be, why should I buy from you? So before I even taste your brand, who are you? So don't forget to build these 2 brands. You should be believable and your brand should also be believable. So don't leave out your personal brand as you're building this brand that we're talking about. It also happens here in the corporate world. When you're putting the old meter there, people need to trust the leaders of that business. So you need to also focus on that. Big businesses can just put that as one of their strategies. They know it's important. So also you as the owner of the business, make sure you're also believable. Make sure you're also a brand on your own, because people will trust you first before they trust or try out your green product that you've built. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Awesome. Patty, the strategist, what are we taking home?
2 things. The first one is sometimes we focus so much on the digital that we forget that before the age of social media, our parents, our grandparents grew thriving businesses, right? They did things the hard way. They entered markets, they entered homes and all of that to sell the products and services that they have. And they were making millions of money. So we having social media and the digital platforms and all these advertising platforms is a plus for us. So don't limit your marketing to just the digital. Sometimes get out of your phone, get out of your house, and go and find people in your neighborhood, in your markets, in your, on your streets. There are people on your streets who do not know that you have this product or this service. So let's start from there, and then you scale it up, you amplify it with digital. The second thing is that the multinational brands you see today started like you. They were in the face of cluelessness. They questioned if it was going to work and all of that. But if they didn't keep going, they wouldn't be where they are now. So keep going, take it one step at a time, keep improving on it, keep finding problems. There's always, if you leave me, I'll keep talking, but find the loopholes.
I'm not leaving you. Awesome.
Find the loopholes and keep finding solutions to the loopholes, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Awesome. Thanks for that. That was insightful, inspiring, and a warning. Longi, final thoughts.
On a final note, I think what I want our community to take away today is remember that, designing and developing and growing a brand, it takes time. It requires clarity of purpose, and clarity is something that you gain over time. So if you want to really get the highest benefit of branding, you need to remember you're playing the long game, and you're only going to stay in that game if you have a guiding purpose that's actually propelling you forward. So yeah, I would say keep that in mind as well.
Fantastic. We are playing the long game, and to keep being in this game, you have to have a compelling, a guiding purpose that takes you far. We are, time is not on our side, but there is a lot that has been shared. From the top, we are thinking purpose-driven business. Within the nitty-gritties of it, we are thinking of our brand as something that people will build a perception of. It's not what you tell them, it is what they think about you. Something you can think and put in mind is what they think about you, not what you tell them. So consistency is key. Put in mind that it takes time, do the hard work, move from actually thinking marketing as something that you just go put on social media by engaging and interacting with your audience, with your customer base. Be a salesperson for the lack of better, or sell. Just go into the house of people to sell, to talk about your business. Thank you all, my amazing panelists, for sharing this wealth of knowledge, this depth of insights with us. You guys have been just amazing. And for everyone connecting with us across the African continent, and even those in other jurisdictions outside of Africa, thank you for spending this early hours of the day. Here in Ghana, it's still early. For everybody that wants to keep being in touch with the Shared Value Africa initiative, of course, they are available on social media, but there are people behind that are driving this. I want to thank Buyo, I want to thank Kate, I want to thank Lolo, our back-end support team, for holding us down, and Lizette, our keynotes, for actually setting the scene and making sure that we move through this conversation so seamlessly, so beautifully. We'll be meeting again during the last quarter of the year, the fourth quarter. Expect something wonderful, insightful, impactful, just like this is the Africa Entrepreneurship Forum. We are signing out, but please connect with us. And our panelists have done so well to share their LinkedIn links, connect with them, ask them questions, let the conversation continue. This is the Africa Entrepreneurship Forum, and together we are helping to build and make Africa great. We are building Africa, the economy that we can trust, and businesses that are actually compelling, businesses that will stand the test of time, businesses that understand that business is actually an infinite game. So you are in business forever. Okay, thank you. All the best. My name is Andrew Sapetuado. I've been your host for today, and I'll see you again. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thanks, Andy.
Bye,
Thanks.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Andy. You're great.
Bye.
Very inspiring.
Thank you. Bye.